Hey, what's up? Another great show today on Ward Wrestling. I've got a one of our top coaches in our state of Florida here. He affects the island versus everybody from Merritt Island. It's Graham Smith. Uh, what a program he's building over there in Merritt Island. I know. Since 2018, he's been in the dual playoffs 5 times. He's been in the Final Four 3 times. He's taken 10 or 11 kids to the state tournament each and every year. He's got an NCAA All-American in Elisha Lusk. He's got 3 individual state titles, and he's just building a hell of a program out there in Merritt Island. Welcome. What's going on, Coach?
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I wish we took 10 or 11 kids to the state tournament every year. We did. We took 11, 10 boys and 1 girl this past year. And I think we've had a couple other good years. So, but yeah, I'd love to take 10 or 11 every year. But yeah, everything else, I really appreciate it. We're just trying to build a good program here that we can be proud of. So that's kind of the goal.
It seems like you're always producing some hammer, and the room is huge. Obviously, the last 2 years I've done your media day, and so the first year, it was that little tiny concrete room over in the corner there by where you have your tournaments.
Yep.
And then this year was the big room, and you had a lot of kids in there. So it looks like you definitely are growing the program.
Yeah, we got a new wrestling room this past year. It's about 1,000 square feet bigger than our old room, which 1,000 square feet goes a long way. Our new room, it has a weight room in there. It has some room for our bikes, room for storage and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. And that comes from administration. Our administration is very supportive. We didn't get the room and then get a bunch of kids. We had a bunch of kids for about 10 years, and it took that long for administration to kind of recognize that. So,
and it looks like you're starting to build a little girls program there too, because you had, there was 5 or 6 of them in the room when I was there, I think, if I remember right. And tough girls, one of them made it to the state tournament, right?
Yeah, we're always trying to grow our girls program. I'm a dad of girls, and I'm just so incredibly thankful that they have that opportunity. So that's something that we definitely want to kind of continue to build.
Something I would say is, and I know you've been there, you've been on the coast over there by, what do they call it? Is it the Treasure Coast? Is that what they call it?
No, Treasure Coast is a little bit south of us. We're the Space Coast. So like the Space Center. Space Center is right here on Merritt Island. Yep.
So that whole Space Coast from Chris Kelly at Cocoa Beach all the way up to the guys at the space, actually right there by the Space Center. That whole coast seems to be, that little 10-mile area seems to be growing huge in wrestling, and you guys are kind of a hotbed out there.
Yeah, it's become a hotbed. I've been around here a long time. I moved here from Illinois in 2001, and since then, I watched it as a high school kid, and I was a very good high school kid in this area at the time, but I wasn't a great high school wrestler. Since then, it's just grown leaps and bounds. The quality of wrestling in the last 20 years is just so much better. There's just a lot more good coaches and people that are working hard, and people that have been in the youth game for a long time. And that's kind of how it works. And I like to, give people credit, and kind of the godfather of everything is Sean Ballard down at Palm Bay. Sean has done such a great job for the last 20 years. And I think people have kind of forgotten about that. Whatever we're accomplishing in Brevard County, whatever we're doing, it's kind of because of the groundwork that he laid for everybody else. So just want to give credit where credit is due. So I think a lot of that growth is from him and from off-season tournaments that he's run and stuff like that. So
yeah, from him all the way up to Space Coast High School, and it seems like what iron sharpens iron. So you guys over there, a lot of you guys don't have to go far to find good quality wrestling. So that's
and awesome. That's what you want. Coming here, kind of grown up in wrestling in the Midwest, kids get tough because everybody's tough, and you kind of have to be, just to keep your head above water. If people are not that good, you don't have to work as hard, and so you want everybody to be pretty solid, and that kind of raises the level for everybody. So you've seen it, in the last 5 years at the state tournament. Brevard County has been crushing it, and it used to be that maybe we had one team in the top 20 or something like that, and now we have 5 or 6 teams in the top 20, and teams in the top 10, and multiple teams at dual meet state and all that stuff. So, but absolutely, iron sharpens iron, and I gotta believe, people got to respect their competition, and they've got to appreciate those other programs, and not everybody always does that. Sometimes I don't know, we don't keep that perspective. So it's important to recognize that, right? You need other tough people to be tough. So
it's tough because, I always get into, like, sometimes I'm friendly with 2 coaches, but maybe those 2 coaches aren't friendly with each other, right?
Yeah, that's your job. Like, that's your job.
And then I'm like, well, I don't have to coach against him. I don't have to wrestle against him. I don't have to do anything. So for me, it's a different perspective, right? When you guys that are actually in the circle and are actually, for lack of better terms, fighting each other, right? Or going through battle against each other, it builds a different relationship. Sometimes a way better one, sometimes not so better one, right?
Yeah. And that's the important thing to remember, is that it's not personal. People try to make it personal, take things personally. Nothing is personal. It's high school wrestling. We're trying to make our kids the best they can, and like I said, having that respect for competitors and other programs is important. You need them as much as we want to beat everybody else. You need them to be as tough as possible. So I always say, and I tell the kids, like, we don't want to beat a weak version of other people. We want to beat the best version of other people, because that's going to make us work hard, and that's where the growth comes from. So it's just striving to beat the best version of other people.
Yeah, and you see everybody's building out there. You have a young kid in Karoga in your room that's really coming. I know you had a brother in your program that grew into being a good wrestler, and now is over at the Citadel. I don't know if he's wrestling there or just becoming a really smart dude at the
He's
Citadel.
on a full ride. He's crushing it. He's on a full ride for ROTC. He's trying to get on the wrestling team. The coach there is, I don't know, I guess they have a roster cap or something. I don't think he really gave him a fair shot this past year, but we'll see what happens.
So they do have a roster cap, I know, because I'm friendly with Coach Welch, and I have referred kids to him before, and some he has to be careful how he chooses, because he has a cap. Like there's a young man who, the Day family. The older Day is a Navy SEAL. Billy wants to go to one of the academies, and he's talked to Navy, and I put him on Citadel. Well, Citadel, Luke says, look, I have a cap, Dan, so it's hard for me to just allow anybody to walk on, where when he's at the Naval Academy, the guy there, anybody can walk on. There's no cap. So he's got
they have huge rosters. It just kind of depends from program to program. But Dylan's doing a great job. He's just crushing it in college. We got a couple other guys that are doing really well. I know you talked about Elijah Lusk. Elijah Lusk is now a 2-time NCAA All-American. Super proud of him. He's a kid that started in our youth club in 7th grade, and I tell everybody all the time, he lost his first 17 matches, and most parents, they kind of quit after that, and he didn't quit, and he ended up being a 2-time state champ and a 2-time NCAA All-American with another year to go. So one of the
a great program. Great program.
I will tell you what,
coach is incredible.
Yeah, I will tell you about Lander. During his recruitment, we didn't really know much about Lander. They were pretty new. I think the year before they had maybe had 1 or 2 NCAA qualifiers. They were a brand new program. And so we really weren't sure. And man, I've just been so grateful for Coach LaHaye and staff up at Lander. And Elijah really likes his assistant coach, Coach Frigi. But they've done such a good job up there. I strongly recommend
Yeah.
Anybody looking to wrestle at the college level, check out Lander. I would say they're, one of the top programs in the Southeast. A lot of the, they're a D2 program, and a lot of the D1s refuse to wrestle them. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know about Lander. So,
A great guy, really stand-up guy. Coach
yeah.
LaHaye is unbelievable. I actually took Daniel there.
Uh-huh.
We went on a visit with him, and we went out to a little pizza place there, and he brought us lunch and stuff. And just a stand-up guy. And from that point moving forward, I saw him at Fargo, and I've seen
Uh-huh.
him at other places, and he's just always come up and always. I believe he was at the Knockout. I want to say he was at the Knockout this year.
Uh-huh. He runs
I feel like I
a great
saw him.
program. So
Yeah.
him and I'll give a shout out to Coach Omi at Life. Just two great programs in the Southeast that I feel like a lot of kids, maybe overlook because they want to be D1 or something like that. And, and Southeastern. It's easy to forget how spoiled we are with Southeastern. What an awesome program. They're a top 5 NAIA program. And, I grew up in an era where there was no college wrestling in Florida or Georgia, except for club teams. And so it's amazing that we have such awesome programs. We used to pray for days where we'd have, a top NAIA team or something like that in the Southeast. And now we have several. So yeah, we're really blessed. We're really lucky.
What a great young Caleb Ivy! Wow, what a kid! What a guy! What a man, right?
Yeah,
He
he's
got
a
his
boy.
title
He's
this
still a
year.
little boy.
Yeah. But
yeah. We'll talk. I'll talk about Caleb Ivy. Kind of the same thing about Elijah Lusk is he didn't start out super successful. He was a bad JV wrestler in 9th grade, and he showed up all the time and worked really hard and came to all the off-season stuff for the next couple years. When he was a sophomore, he qualified for the state tournament, and we kind of made the decision after that he was going to bulk up and get big, and he made a commitment and gained about 40 pounds and became a big, strong 215 for the next 2 years. And just put in a lot of work, traveled a lot of national events, a lot of camps, kind of got his butt whipped in the off season, but again, that's where the growth comes from and learning. So he had a crazy year this year. He started out, ranked number 1 in the state, wrestling exactly like you would expect the number 1 kid in the state to wrestle. Took 3rd at Knockout, lost to Sawyer down at South Dade, who he is a man. And then pretty much dominated everybody.
Caleb's not the only one that loses to him.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then he took some lumps at the end of the year. And I think part of that was he started to drink his own Kool-Aid a little bit. And so we had to pull him back in. And once we pulled him back in, he did everything he needed and he pretty much dominated at the state tournament. So super thankful for Caleb Ivy. He's a great kid. Just the growth. He's not a kid that came from a crazy wrestling background or anything like that. But he's a kid that just bought in and worked incredibly hard. And those are the types of kids that are going to be successful in our program.
Yeah, I know something that's big to you over there is your FCA program, your Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I know it's huge. We see the South Florida chapter going with M80 and the guys down there, and then you're building that area up there. So talk about that. I know it's very dear to you.
Yeah, so I'll talk about our FCA program. I've been coaching wrestling for 14 years, and man, I have just put a lot of time and effort into coaching wrestling. And as a Christian man and as a father, one of the things that I think about is, man, I just spend all these time with these kids working on wrestling and trying to become better wrestlers. And as a Christian, how can I say that Jesus is important to me if I'm not also sharing that? So sharing my faith, is incredibly important. And it's something that, like I said, if I wasn't also sharing that, I would be selling these kids short. I would be selling myself short and probably not making the best use of my time. I think that, there's a bigger purpose to what we do. And I think that every coach will acknowledge that. But I think being more explicit, being more obvious about, look, we're doing this to honor and glorify Jesus. So we got our FCA program going a couple years ago. I had a baseball coach at my school who had run a similar program. And that was really my motivation. I had been involved with FCA at the school level for about 10 years prior to that. But making the decision that we're going to take our club program and turn it into an FCA program was, something that it was a great decision for us. So, and we ran that for about 3 years. And then actually last year I went on staff with FCA. So I'm on staff with Brevard County FCA. I from what I understand, I'm the only wrestling coach in the state of Florida that's on staff with FCA. And I want to see more. I want to see, I've talked to a lot of other coaches from around the state. It's a decision that I want to see a lot of other people make. Like I said, we're passionate about coaching wrestling and working on that. But if, we're Christians, and I know many other coaches are, we've got to do a lot to further, the kingdom of Jesus too. So that's really important to me. So I went on staff last year. Going on staff has been huge for our program. It's given us a lot of credibility. The past couple of years traveling, we've tried to compete around the country and stuff like that, and we had to kind of pay our own way. Or this year, I've been really blessed. We got a big donation for our FCA program to help us travel and compete nationally. So last week we took our FCA group to the U.S. Open. Our FCA group will be at the Father Divine. Our FCA group will be at Southeast Regionals. Our FCA group will be everywhere we need to be. So it's such an awesome program. Like I said, any coach that's ever on the fence, about starting an FCA program, reach out to me. It's already a club in the schools, whether you're at a public school or a Christian school. FCA is already there. They already have a presence in your county. It's a really easy transition. So again, I would just encourage any coach who's on the fence, just get in there, make it happen. So, and if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, it's huge all around the country, and it's good that we're seeing growth here in our state as well. I know you mentioned a couple tournaments there. Father Divine is tomorrow, I guess, is weigh-ins, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
So how many, I'd imagine you have kids going there to try to make the dual team? How many
Yeah,
kids
we
you
have,
going?
we'll probably have at least 10 kids down there. Again, you want to make the dual team, but it's all about getting those tough freestyle and Greco matches and just getting prepared, and even if you don't make the dual team, hopefully it helps prepare you for Fargo. Last year, we sent 6 kids from our club to Fargo, which, that doesn't sound like a ton, but that's pretty good. And we won some matches, and the goal is to, hopefully get some kids on the podium at Fargo. So like I said, to do that, you need those high level freestyle and Greco matches. So we'll be at Father Divine. We were at the U.S. Open last week, getting our butts whipped. But again, that's exactly what we want. It's exactly what we needed. So that was such a great experience. I would encourage anybody around the state. We spend a lot of money. It costs a lot to go to Fargo. We put a lot of effort into it, but also checking out the U.S. Open. I will tell you, man, if you guys have never been there, the U.S. Open is just insane. The talent level and depth there. There's no easy matches. We were the easy matches. So it was it was a good time.
I had so I applied. I'm an approved USA wrestling photographer, whatever, media person, right? But as far as like the Olympic trials, they didn't just click a button and approve for that. You had to go through a different process. But well, you sign up for it, but they individually pick you. On the rest of the stuff, you can just click in, and because you're approved, they'll approve you, right? So I got credentialed for US Open, and then I was like, well, let's see what happens here, right? Well, once I got credentialed for the Olympic trials, to me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, all right, if I'm going to pick an event to go to, I'm going to go there. So I went there.
For sure.
Once every 4 years, right? So, but seeing it was crazy because there were people competing at the U.S. Open that I had just seen compete at the Olympic trials, and there were people competing at the U.S. Open that I saw in the stands, right?
Yeah,
watching, and so obviously Pennsylvania had a big presence there in the stands and on the mat. So you got to see a lot of those great kids. So It was pretty
Yeah.
cool to watch it, but to see the Florida presence too. And we had some kids do okay, you know.
Oh yeah, we had our high school group. We didn't have anybody make the podium. Some of our younger kids, Logan Kuroga, he placed in Greco, so we're super proud of him. He placed in Greco in the Futures division, and Asher Bacon. I don't know if you know Asher. He traveled with us. He spends a lot of his time here and kind of traveling and training in different places. But he placed second in the U15 division. Asher did a really great job, and so it was fun.
Landon's the youngest, right?
Logan is the youngest.
Okay.
So
Who's
Logan
the one
is
that's in high school right now?
Landon. He's the youngest, or
Landon.
he's the
Okay.
middle.
So
Yeah,
Logan placed.
he placed in Greco. Yep. Landon
Nice.
has an injury that he's getting through right now, so he wasn't able to register, but he was there supporting his teammates and having a good time. So
that's awesome. He's a good kid.
He is a great kid. So yeah, I would encourage you. You ever thought about getting to the Olympics?
Oh man, I just because I put in a media credential for it, and I was turned down
Really
pretty quickly. But because I think as an individual person, you got to be like NBC, ESPN, somebody very large, right?
Yeah.
As far as if I work directly for USA Wrestling or something, I'm sure they're bringing their guys, UWW bringing their, and then you have a lot of those Olympic athletes, which I got to meet a lot of their photographers there. They have individual photographers that they hire, like a Jeff Riccio, a Justin Hoke, or a Joe photographer, whatever, right?
So what we need is for somebody to hire Dan Ward for the Olympics. That's
Take me with them. I was trying. I'm going down to Puerto Rico tomorrow for the U20, and well, I think it's U20 and U17 or U15 and U20, and I keep talking to them like, hey, don't you need someone to go to Paris with your Olympians so I can take the photos for you?
Oh, they definitely need somebody. They need somebody.
Yeah. Their closed mouth don't get fed, so I ask. I at least ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be cool. Another like dream would be to find a school that would allow me to come with them to the NCAAs. I think that would be pretty cool too to shoot.
For sure. Yeah, you often see small programs looking for people for that and stuff. So yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I know next year I'd like to get up to the D3s. I know my son is wrestles for a D3 program. He's not a starter yet, but he goes and they all support their teammates. But I know we got Chippy, as we call him, Christian Guzman, who made the finals this year.
That's right.
And
yeah, he's doing a great job.
He told Daniel the other day, I need him there next year in Rhode Island. So maybe I'll get up there and do the D3s. I was talking with Jeff Riccio, who obviously shoots everything, but he does go to the D3s, and he said it's a lot of fun. So
yeah, we had a kid. I know you and I were texting about it. Khalil Mitchell lost in the blood round at D3s this year. So I'm so proud of Khalil. It's just a kid that's worked his butt off, and just a hair shy of being an NCAA All-American, which is
a great kid, great family,
pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. You think about all the kids out of Florida. We had 2 All-Americans this year, Elijah Lusk and Christian Guzman. And that's pretty.
I know that you have a camp that's happening here in the near future. I think I saw June 28th, 29th, and 30th. Am I right about that?
That's right. Thank you so much for getting back with me on this. I had hoped to be able to announce it last week when we did the interview, but there's a lot of different moving pieces. I'm so excited to announce that we'll be bringing Jordan Burroughs down to Central Florida. He'll be running a camp at Merritt Island High School. He's our clinician for Saturday, June 29th. We're also bringing in some great coaches and clinicians for Friday, June 28th and Sunday, June 30th. Just a few other names. We got Coach Travis Patrick coming in from Southeastern, one of the best coaches in the country. We have Michael DiAgostino. He's a 2-time All-American. Just finished up at the University of Michigan. He's a local Central Florida boy that came up through this community. So we're really excited. And we also got a few other names that we're working on that, hopefully they can come through and people will be real happy to see them there. So we're really excited. We're running this camp through our FCA program. It's the only FCA wrestling camp in the state of Florida. So we're kind of pioneers there, but we're real excited to get that going. I think it's going to be a great event for the wrestling community, not just in Central Florida, but we hope to have people from all over Florida that attend. And then I've also heard from some people in other states that are excited and will hopefully come down for the event. So I'm super stoked for that, man. It's going to be a good time. It's not very often that Jordan Burroughs comes down. I know he did a camp in Miami a few years ago, but other than that, we can't really think of many examples, to have the greatest wrestler of all time here in our state. So super excited for that.
It's awesome. And to have him, to have Mikey DeAugustino, to have Travis Patrick, and I'm sure we're going to hear some more names coming out of your camp there. So is the with it being so close to Fargo, will you be offering? Will it be a freestyle focus camp? Will it be a Greco focus camp, or are you going to focus on all three styles?
So I actually looked at the schedule, and it's right before the Fargo training camp. We will have small groups for freestyle and Greco to get live goes. The camp will be run in the gym, but we'll split off and have some of those goes in the wrestling room. Plenty of opportunities to help guys prep for Fargo. I hope that, I've got kids prepping for Fargo that plan on winning matches and getting on the podium there. So yeah, for sure. And we will have some, obviously, we have Jordan Burroughs coming, but some other guys with world-class freestyle credentials that will be in the room working with some of the kids. So super excited for that.
It'd be a great time. I remember when, I think if I remember right, it was a Somerset camp. And and I saw a lot of kids got to take pictures with him, and a lot of kids signed autographs with him, and he did all the things that he does. We obviously, with the Olympic trials behind us and everything that went on there, it was obviously kind of shitty, some of the stuff. But as far as him as a human, everybody I talked to, even there and where I've been, and kids that have been around him, and I've seen him out at Fargo. He's always there spending time with the kids. The guy is just a genuinely awesome dude. And I always see him making time for the kids. At Fargo, he gets swarmed. I mean, swarmed. And there's 50, 100 people around him at any time. And he'll stop and he'll take pictures and he'll do all that. And then, Mikey, obviously, we all look at him like, well, he's a Florida kid, but he has had an excellent career, and he's always willing to jump in and help with the kids. And of course, see Travis Patrick down at SCU, always doing the things that he's doing with doing the high school tournaments over there and offering what he's doing over there. It's really cool to see these three guys coming in. And
awesome. We're super excited. Obviously, when we're putting this camp together through Fellowship of Christian Athletes, my number one pick in the entire world is Jordan Burroughs. So to be able to have them and our schedules align, which is kind of a miracle in itself. If you ever, I know we talked a little bit earlier about his schedule, but he's incredibly busy. So the days kind of aligned, and it's very serendipitous, right? That we were able to get him for that day. So yeah, I'm just super excited. Again, Michael DiAgostino is a great kid, great young man, we're just super thankful, him and Coach Patrick. It's going to be a good time. And I'm going to get the information out soon. We just wanted to publish it as soon as we had everybody confirmed, just so that people could free up their calendars. We'll publish a sign up through our local FCA organization very soon and get that going. It'll be $170. We're limited, only about 100 spots available. So make sure, if you want to come, if you want to be a part of this, you get signed up so that you can be there.
That's awesome, man. It's going to be a great time. Good for you guys and FCA. And looking forward to hopefully being able to get over there.
Come on over.
I haven't looked at my calendar. I think I get a little light at the end of June, and then of course it picks up again in the 1st of July. But the beginning of June is really busy with we got the summer knockout, and we've got Spartan, and we've got everything that goes on there, and kids going away to do the 14U duels and and the cadet duels and the junior duels, and everybody's away that first half of
Yeah.
June, and then everybody's
Yeah.
away the first half of July. So
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why that date, I've kind of had
It
that date
works.
set aside for a while. When I looked at the calendar, Disney Duels ends a few days before, which it's not Disney Duels anymore. It's down
Yeah.
in South Florida.
Right.
So, yeah, it just was kind of the perfect weekend. And like I said, almost like serendipitous that we're able to get Jordan on the one day that he's available is the day that we're trying to get him
But
down
man,
here.
if you're a wrestler in this state this off season, you've got the great camp with all the legends coming up in Ryan Blackwell in North Florida. You got the great camp coming to uh, Osceola that they do there. You've got the great
Yep.
camp Pat Lugo getting to happen. You've got the state champ camp that always happens with Coach Duck, and now you have this camp coming.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a kid in Florida trying to get better, there is some huge opportunities for you, and none of them happen at the same time. So make sure you.
Yeah. So that's very
Get-
intentional. We haven't been up to the Panhandle yet, but we go over to the Osceola camp. That's a great camp that's existed for more than a decade. And then Coach Duck's camp is an institution in Florida as well. So that was another goal of ours is we don't really want to step on anybody's toes when it comes to, some of those other long established camps. This is our first year running the FCA camp. We're growing our FCA program, but it's something that we're looking at doing every year is, we want to be able to bring in big time people that are going to change lives. So super
That's
excited.
awesome, man. Well, looking forward.